What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WWE Network and Show, where I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. Today we're talking the June 3rd, 2024 edition of Raw Talk. They open up the episode in pretty interesting fashion. For those that have been following the QR codes from Uncle Howdy and that whole thing, they open up the episode here with that, not a QR code, but like one of those extended video packages where, and I haven't really followed the links at all, the only QR code I've done lately was the one they did on SmackDown last week, where if you click on, it like brings you to a webpage, as it normally does, from WWE.com. And like they have different videos attached to each link, which have been all the videos they've posted up to this point in the past 2 months. This wasn't a QR code, like I said. It was one of those type of videos where they were playing the intro for, not just the Raw Talk intro, but the WWE intro. And then it played, or it said, oh, you've been mocking me, you don't believe me, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty much the same verbiage they've been using for every other video, QR code they've done so far. It's cool stuff, and it's cool that it extended to Raw Talk this week. So like over the weekend, it was on WWE.com on Saturday. They've done it on their Twitch channel. Obviously, they've been doing it on Raw and on SmackDown for a while now. That's really cool. We're at a point now where they need to move on with this. It has been 2 months. Even the original White Rabbit QR codes from Bray Wyatt leading up to his return to the company back in late 2022, those only went on for like 3 or 4 weeks. We're at a point now where, and I don't want to sound impatient, but like they just have to get it over with. And I enjoy the QR codes. I think it's cool. But with this sort of stuff, especially if it's not really new information, and we all kind of know where it's going. Like the Bray Wyatt one, we were pretty confident, but we weren't 100% sure. Reports had revealed the new faction for Uncle Howdy like well over a month ago, so we already know where this is going. They're merely delaying the inevitable, and maybe they're waiting until after a certain pay-per-view, but Backlash has passed, King and Queen of the Ring has passed. How much longer are they going to make people wait? Is this going on for 3 months? I mean, I guess the original Firefly Funhouse went on for like 3 months before they had The Fiend finally show up on Raw. So I mean, I guess there is patience. Patience is a virtue, I suppose, but at the same time, they're not really giving away new information. I feel like the Firefly Funhouse was a few years back. This, not so much. It is cool, don't get me wrong, and it's cool that we got another one here on Raw Talk, but they got to move this process along a little bit quicker. The only bad thing of doing it here on Raw Talk was it was super cool. Megan and Sam didn't really sell it all that well. They sold it as way too over the top, and then they would just not shut the fuck up about it for the rest of the episode. Every time they would come back from commercial, where there was no indication that it was still going on, they merely played that one video at the very beginning of the episode. They were like, again, they're not taking their job too seriously. It's WWE, it's wrestling, whatever, but like they just kept mentioning it. And then it's like, all right, we get it. People will go back and see it. The funny thing is, I didn't watch this episode until today. I've been on Twitter until watching this episode. I have seen absolutely not a single fucking soul mention this from Raw Talk last night, which goes to tell me that I'm the only sucker that's watching this show. Because why else would anyone be talking about it? I guess unless it was something out of the ordinary or newsworthy, which it wasn't. But anyway, back onto the episode. They replayed the opening segment with Liv Morgan confronting Dominic Mysterio, teasing an alliance or a relationship there, which hasn't been confirmed yet, but that's the idea in Liv's mind anyway. Sam says that Dominic's smile cannot be denied. They said that Liv is playing into the whole I'm with Dominic thing, and she's playing it up and whatever. But Dominic, for his part, as she acknowledges here, his smile isn't completely gone. Like, he's kind of feeding into it a little bit, so we'll see where it goes. Very intriguing stuff. And then Sam also questions her intentions with what she's trying to do. Obviously get back at Rhea Ripley, but like, is she telling the truth? Is she actually with Dom? She already has the championship, so what more could she really do to do damage to Rhea Ripley? They replay Ricochet losing to Braun Breaker, and then we go on to hear from Braun Breaker backstage. I forget whether it was with Kathy Kelly or Jackie Redmond, both of whom were on the show. They go on to interview Braun Breaker, and he gives the best interview of his entire career here on Raw Talk. He cut a lot of promos on NXT. He's had some mic time on the main roster so far. This was probably the best promo I have ever heard Braun Breaker cut. This was excellent. And he said he did what he did on Raw. He had to make an example out of Ricochet because of Adam Pearce not putting him in King in the Ring. And then he goes on to praise Dragunov as one of the most dangerous men in the company. But he says that he is WWE's only badass. And then goes off on Dragunov for, you come out with the friggin' noises and the smoke coming out of your mouth and all this other shit. I don't need to play badass. I am a badass, and I'm going to prove that to you next week when we go one-on-one. This was excellent. Me just talking about it doesn't really do it justice. Find it on Twitter, YouTube, whatever. A really, really good promo here from Braun Breaker. This really should have aired on the show. It makes shows like this more eventful for me to watch and cover, obviously, but it really should have aired on Raw because I thought this was great. Maybe they'll air it again on Raw, or we can cut another promo like this on Raw. I'm not sure, next week, but I thought it was really, really good. They preview Dragunov and Braun Breaker for next week's show, also replaying the Sami Zayn and Alpha Academy segment from Raw on Monday night. Another strong segment from those guys and girl, including Maxine Dupree. Really, really good segment there. They preview Sami Zayn versus Otis for next week's show. Sam says that Alpha Academy already has a leader in Gable. They don't need one in Sami Zayn. They need lessons that the Olympian can provide. They also replay Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair successfully retaining their WWE Women's Tag Team titles against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark by DQ, albeit, but a win is a win after interference from Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, teasing a match at Clash of the Castle between those two teams for the tag team titles. Not exactly sure how Stark and Baszler would feel about that, though. They earned their opportunity in that four-way a few weeks ago. They got their opportunity in an impromptu match on the show last night. They weren't beaten. They were about to be beaten, but technically they weren't beaten. So maybe it turns into a triple threat tag team match. I'm not sure. I guess that would get all the women on the show, probably on the pre-show, but it's better than nothing. As, Bianca and Jade were on the pre-show for the King and Queen of the Ring show a couple of weeks back. They replay the debuting Kiana James, making her in-ring debut on Raw this week, beating Natalya. We hear from Kiana James backstage, and she says that, listen, Adam Pearce, I give him a lot of credit for listening to my ideas, allowing me to fulfill my ideas. I'm not exactly sure what she's referring to. She simply had a fucking match in 1 and 2 minutes, but okay. She calls her win over Natalya her first success as part of the member of the Raw roster, and her stock will continue to rise. Pretty generic, basic stuff here from Kiana. I was never really, not that I wasn't impressed by her in NXT. She had a good run there. She beat Roxy and Perez in that cage match. One of the most boring fucking cage matches I think I have ever seen. It's not that she's bad in the ring, I just don't think she was in-ring ready yet for the main roster, character-wise as well. She's just not overly interesting. She had a lot of feuds in NXT. I just don't give a fuck about Kiana James. It's probably just me. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I just don't really know what you do with her on Raw. She might be in Money in the Bank, and that's great. Who do you pair her off with? Becky Lynch isn't there right now. Rhea Ripley's injured. Is there really anyone in Raw that she can work with aside from Natalya, whose contract is also expiring soon, fairly soon apparently? Even Natalya, I don't give a shit about Natalya working with Kiana James. She already beat her in 2 minutes clean on Raw. So it was a nice debut. I thought she handled her promo here well. I just don't really know where you go with her from here now that she's on the Raw roster. It gives the Raw roster more fresh blood and new faces to work with. I get that. But, okay, she beat Natalya. What's next? They replay Sheamus losing to Ludwig Kaiser. Really, really good match. We hear from Ludwig Kaiser coming out of the commercial break with Kathy Kelly. And he says, who's going to doubt me now? I did exactly what I said I was going to do in beating Sheamus. I showed why I am A+ everything. And that was about it. So we kind of went off for a couple minutes about that and proving people wrong and why he's A+ this, A+ that, blah, blah, blah. Really good, intense promo here from Kaiser. I was really happy to see him beat Sheamus in what was a very good match. I thought he deserved that victory. Cool to see. Sam said that Kaiser made a name for himself by beating Sheamus on Monday night and also teases a rematch between the two based off the dirty finish in the matchup and that Sheamus would probably want that win back. They replay Braun Strowman squashing Carlito before being attacked by the Judgment Day. Sam Roberts says a thing is happening with Liv and Dominic. Quite the insight there from Sam Roberts. They also replay Damian Priest beating Rey Mysterio in the night's main event. A good match from those two. They hype up Damian Priest defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Drew McIntyre, Clash of the Castle. And Sam says that Priest is being underestimated as the World Heavyweight Champion. I don't think they plugged anyone for the bump on Wednesday. I thought, overall it was a fine episode here. I don't really watch the bump. I don't give a shit about the bump. I don't care about the bump. So the fact they didn't plug anyone doesn't really matter to me at all. But yeah, as far as Raw Talk goes, like I said, I thought it was a decent episode. The Kaiser promo was good. I thought the Kiana James one was fine. She needs more reps with that sort of stuff, so this is probably the perfect platform for her in that respect. And then also the Braun Breaker promo was excellent. Probably one of the best promos I've heard on this show in quite some time. So seek that out on socials, YouTube, whatever. It was great. Fine job of this show did in recapping Raw from Monday night, so decent episode of Raw Talk on the whole. Thank you guys for checking out my review of the show. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Check out all my other Raw Talk reviews from here on the channel in the description box down below. Have an awesome week, folks. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.